With the election less than 2 months away, a disabilities advocate says the Ford government has made Ontario more dangerous for vulnerable people with disabilities. He says whoever comes into power next needs to make Ontario more accessible and safer for all.
The Ford government's record is abysmal in the way it has treated people with disabilities during the pandemic. We have been an afterthought whose urgent needs have been left aside time and time again.
Lawyer and disabilities advocate David Lepofsky says the new normal, which includes the mask mandate being lifted in Ontario, is especially problematic in schools and grocery stores.
For the Ford government to try to order school boards not to meet the disability-related needs of these vulnerable students with disabilities is a flagrant violation by the Ford government of the Ontario Human Rights Code.
Lepofsky has other concerns as well.
First thing they got to do is repeal the critical care triage protocol and instruct hospitals that it's to be rooted out.
It could be activated in Ontario if ICU beds run out, allowing healthcare providers to decide who gets potentially life-saving care and who doesn't. Lepofsky says the triage protocol is discriminatory because people with disabilities are disproportionately prone to end up in intensive care units.
Ensuring that buildings are made accessible. Our building code is decades out of date, and this government has done nothing to strengthen it.
We reached out multiple times to the province on what steps they are taking to help those living with disabilities. They couldn't meet our deadline. The NDP says if they are elected, they will reinstate the mask mandate in schools and are pledging to increase disability benefits.
$11.29, and barely rising with inflation, that's going to stop under an NDP government. We're going to massively raise the rates. Details to be released later this month. We're going to provide housing supports for persons with disabilities.
As for the Liberals, leader Stephen Del Duca released this statement to City News, which reads in part, "The party has already committed to implementing a needs-based Ontario autism program for every child and is promising to rescind any ableist triage protocols to make it easier and safer for people with disabilities to navigate the health system, plus address accessibility barriers in the way we construct homes and buildings." Lepofsky says previous premiers have met with the Accessibility for Ontarians with Disabilities Act Alliance in the past, but Ford has not. Currently, over 2.6 million Ontarians are people with disabilities. Advocates say it's a big segment of the population which needs to get out and vote. For City News, I'm Maleeha Sheikh.